Welcome back to the Pittsburgh Sports Saviors. It is Monday, the 4th of November, about 8:35 p.m. Less than 24 hours to the trade deadline as we speak here. By the time this comes out, it'll probably be like a half a day or so before the trade deadline, I'd say. It's also the midpoint of the season, so I
hmm
figure we can get right into some midseason grades. And I decided to do something different. Let's not do A, B, C, D. Let's
Okay.
We're gonna do pass fail on every single player who's gotten at least about 20% of the snaps this year.
All right.
Um, and be as harsh or not harsh as a critic. It's your own criteria. I'm not gonna bog you down to anything specific. I want you to just when I say the name, go pass fail. Simple
Gotcha.
as that, and it can be based off of expectations, based off of performance, what you thought they were going to perform, whatever you want to put. It's all up to you on this one here, Lee.
All right. Sounds good.
I didn't give you a how you been, how you doing, did I?
I'm doing all right. You didn't, but I'm doing all right.
Uh-huh.
Everything's okay. I'm doing good. How about yourself, bud?
I'm doing pretty good myself. Do you want to start offense or defense with these grades?
Let's start defense first.
All right, okay. So we'll start on the defensive line. Um, Cameron Hayward. I think this one will be an easy one here. We'll start Cameron Hayward. He's been on the field for 68% of snaps so far this season. What are your thoughts on Cameron Hayward? Pass fail?
I'm gonna go pass. He's
Uh-huh.
definitely has a chip on his shoulder from how
Mm-hmm.
the fans have reacted to him over the offseason and with tweets and that. And he said he was going to come back and show everybody and prove everybody wrong. And I think that he's done that. I think he's played fantastic so far through this halfway of the season for the Steelers on defense. And I think that he's just going to continue to get better during the season.
Yeah, he's a pass for me for sure. 3 sacks in the season, 4 tackles for loss, just to give you some stats there for him. Yeah, he's been one of the best interior linemen in the league this whole
Yeah.
season. He shut up a lot of people, like you were saying. I was one of them. I was kind of over him in his contract disputes this
hmm
offseason, but he came in there and proved himself to be exactly what he thought he was worth,
Yeah.
maybe more than what he was given, actually.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
passing grade for me. Next guy we'll go here is Larry Ogunjobi. What are your thoughts on Larry Ogunjobi? Pass, fail?
I'm gonna go pass. I think even I think during this last week he even showed that he can still play. I think he put up a sack in this last game. I think he's made a couple during the season. He's definitely a key point to this defensive line for sure. And I think that he's doing well and having a decent season for himself.
Yeah, that's going to be a pass here for me, too. A lot of these guys that are role players, I'm not going to grade them harshly.
Yeah.
We're not expecting him to come out there and make some splash plays. He is who he is. So guys like him, I'm going to go pass unless there's something that we've seen that really bothered me. I think
Yeah.
a lot of these guys, I'm just going to give them pass grades. Larry Ogunjobi right there, pass for me.
hmm
Next up, we got Keanu Benton, younger guy. What are your thoughts on him and whether you've been satisfied with what you've seen?
I'm gonna go fail. I really haven't seen
Okay.
too much for him.
Uh-huh.
Haven't heard the name called as much. I mean, I understand that he's still only like a second year guy right now, but he's supposed to be a starter, and just haven't seen much of him so far during the season.
Yeah, has no sacks so far in the year, 1 tackle for loss, 5 QB hits. Man, I was thinking pass at first, but let's be harsher than we need to be, right? I guess
Yeah.
I'll go fail just from the simple fact that I thought he was going to make the jump to
hmm
being an impact guy, and he hasn't done it so far this year. He's played 54% of the snaps. It seems like him, Ogunjobi, Hayward have split pretty well. Ogunjobi was at 55 also. I didn't mention that there, but yeah, you're right. I'll go along with you. I'll go failing for him so far, just based off of expectations,
Yeah.
what we saw there. Finally, along the interior line here, we have Montravius Adams as the nose tackle there. What do you got on him?
Yeah. I'm gonna go fail there as well.
Uh-huh.
Again, I haven't seen much of him make too many plays on defense. Um, again, I understand that a lot of these guys are older and they've been around for a little bit. Not saying that he's been up the same amount of time as like Cam Hayward, but I just haven't seen much of him so far, from the games I've watched on the defensive side.
My expectations are low enough that I'm going to give him a passing because I just don't. I wasn't expecting much from him. He's only
Hmm.
getting 20% of the snaps. He's not out there to be a stud or anything like that. So I'm going to give him an okay grade there. I'm going to give him a pass myself. Uh,
Okay.
let's move to pass rushers here. And first off, we got T.J. Watt. That's
Oh, definite
good here.
pass.
We're going
Yeah,
past them.
yeah, definite
Uh,
pass. I mean, he's just continuing to be such a great defender on defense. He may not lead, the league in sacks like he's been, the past couple of years or put up the big numbers in sacks, but he's definitely been making plays on the defensive side with tackles for
mhm.
losses, forced fumbles, fumble recoveries, things like that. And he's just so talented. And I'll just continue to say that he's the best defensive player in the league. I mean, of course, there's, you got Fred Warner from from the 49ers, and you have a bunch of other guys on defense that have been playing good, but I still think he's the best defender right now in the league.
Okay, I don't have to repeat it. We know what we're thinking on Watt. I'm going to give him a passing grade myself. Next up, Alex Highsmith. Um, just got back to being healthy, and I think that this is an easy one too here, right?
Yeah, I'm going to go pass as well. I mean,
Mhm.
just from him coming, he had some injuries that he had to deal with, the first couple games of the season, and since he's been back, he's made his presence known. He's got a couple sacks, here and there, and making some plays on defense. So he's definitely still being the guy that he's been, since he's been with the Steelers on defense. Barring the injuries that he's had.
Yeah, he's a pass for me for sure. Coming into the last few games here, let's see what he's got going on. He's got 2 sacks since he's came back from injury. The last 2 games that was against the Giants there. He already has 2 tackles for loss as well. 6 QB hits in the game against the Giants, 2 against the Jets. So yeah, he's been impactful since he's gotten back. He's plays such a big role in the defensive scheme to allow Watt a little less freedom. He's still going to get chipped on every play,
Yeah.
but it's a little tougher when you got a guy on the other side who's making plays, and he's done that so far.
Hmm.
And then the guy who filled in for a little bit there, Nick Herbig. He's only got 28.5% of the snaps so far this year. I'm going to go passing myself. How about you? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm going to go pass. He, while he was in there, before he had any injury himself, he was definitely making his presence known, as well. And I think he, did a little bit of what he needed to do on the defensive side while he was in there getting some play time.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think he's a pass.
Hmm.
He's showing the flashes, in the way that maybe Benton didn't do too
Yeah.
far this year compared to last year. So let's go to the middle of the field here. First up, Landon Roberts, 35% of the snaps. I think he's been awesome when he's on the field. I like him a lot. I think it's a passing grade for me for him.
Yeah, I'm going to go pass as well. He's definitely doing what he needs to do when he's out there. Had that nice play in that Cowboys game to stop that touchdown. Unfortunately, they ended up scoring later on in that drive, but that was just a big play that was needed. That he stopped them at the goal line for that running touchdown. But
Mhm.
I think while he's been out there, like you said, with the amount of stat and play that he's got, I think he's made some plays that needs to be made. While he's out there on the field.
Here's one here. I'm not sure how I'm going to go. There's not been anything that's been awful here. Peyton Wilson, what are your thoughts on him, the rookie linebacker?
I mean, I, I'm just gonna go pass only
Mhm.
because he's a rookie. He's not getting the large amount of play time like some of the starters are. But I think I've seen his name and heard his name called a few times while he's been on the field with some tackles and things like that. But he definitely still has a lot of improvement to make. Um, I think there was a little bit of hype when he was drafted, but I'm not certain that the expectations are there yet for him as a rookie.
Yeah, he's actually at 47% of the snaps, which I was surprised at. I guess not too surprised. He has 39 tackles so far this year, um, one in tackle for loss, no sacks. I think he's been playing a lot more in coverage than anywhere else.
Hmm.
I'll give him a passing grade myself as well. Like you said, he's a rookie. You give him that leeway that maybe we're not giving to Benton and some other guys there.
Hmm.
This one, I'm interested what you're going to say. Uh, Patrick Queen.
It's a fail for me
You
right
got him as
now.
a fail? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna, but I didn't want to talk for you.
Although he's I don't know if he's leading the team or it might be second in the league in the team with tackles. He is making some tackles. He was a big, name that was brought over,
Mm-hmm.
during free agency over the offseason, was signed a 3-year deal, big money, 47 some million or something like that. But he has not been making the plays that he was making
Mm-hmm.
when he was a Raven, and I haven't heard his name called rarely. We still have not got that big play from him. Maybe like a big game where he's had multiple sacks or an interception or, fumble recovery, forced fumbles, things like that. I have not heard much of Patrick Queen during the season. I'm hoping that maybe during the second half, he can, maybe he's looked over some film over this bye to see where maybe he can step up his game, but he has not been a name I've heard all season, for this team, even though he's making tackles that, are being made. I got to give him a fail right now.
Yeah, so we're at the halfway point. This time last year he had 100, or sorry, total last year he had 133. This year he only has 55 tackles, so he's on pace for about 110 compared to that 133. Last year he had a total of 3.5 sacks. He has no sacks this year for the Steelers. Last year 9 tackles for loss. This year just 2 tackles for loss. So there is credence to that. He isn't playing up to the level he was last year while he was in Baltimore. You might. I'm still going passing. I'm pretty sure he leads the team in tackles. If he's not, he's right there with everyone else. 55 total. I get your point of view, but I think he's done enough to give me a passing grade. I'm going to give it to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's go. I guess we're going to the secondary here. Here's another guy. Joey Porter Jr. What are you feeling on him?
I got to give a fail.
Yeah.
Haven't seen much of him this season. Last year, him as a rookie, he made a lot of big plays, when he was guarding a lot of the, the big name receivers and things like that. And he had some interceptions and, he was doing what he needed to do as a rookie and was, making plays to where he could have been maybe a defensive rookie of the year. I think he got that title actually. I can't remember, but
he was 5th in defensive rookie.
Okay. But he was shining last year, and I think that the expectation was for him to continue to improve that way. And I have not seen anything. I don't even think he has an interception this year. I don't know how many tackles he really has. Maybe he has, some of the receivers he's guarded to where they haven't got too many receptions during a game, but he has not been the Joey Porter Jr. he was as a rookie last year that he is this year.
Yeah, but based on hype, I can see the failing. I'm gonna still give him a pass. I'm gonna give him a pass so far. His numbers, I got him in front of me so I can look and see. His counting stats aren't as bad as they look. He's gotten a decent amount of tackles. He only had 1 interception last year. I thought he had more, but he only had 1. So he's matched that this year already. So yeah, I'm gonna give him a passing grade. He's still a second-year guy. I'm willing to give him a little bit of a break there, I think. Next up, Dante Jackson. For me, that's a pass. That was a trade that a lot of us, I don't know, we were hoping we get another receiver coming back, but we haven't got that yet. But Dante Jackson's been great in the secondary since he's come over. So he's a passing grade for me.
Yeah, I'm going to give a pass as well. I mean, he's made a lot of key plays so far with this defense, while he's been out there on the field. And I think he's helped contributed to improving the secondary for this team in an area that we haven't done too well in over the past few years. And so I think it was definitely a nice, acquisition that we picked up. And he's definitely been helping in the secondary and that defense as well to make some plays. So I give him a pass.
Yep. And for me, this next guy has been right there with Dante Jackson. One of the biggest surprises is Deshaun Elliott. He's going to passing grade for me for sure. He's one of the leading tacklers on the team. He's just stepped up from a guy where you didn't expect much, but you've gotten some greatness, I think, from him so far this year.
Yeah, that's definitely another pass. Another guy that I think we acquired from somewhere. And
free agency from Baltimore, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was free agency but it was definitely from Baltimore.
Yeah, and definitely been another key contributor to that defense with making plays and things like that. And he's definitely shown, why he should be a starter and being out there at least making some plays. So he's definitely a great, acquisition we picked up for sure.
So Denton definitely from Baltimore. He was from Miami, Detroit.
Oh, okay.
He was in Baltimore in 2021.
Oh,
So
okay.
completely ignore me and my lack of knowledge on Deshaun Elliott. But this year he has 58 total tackles, so he's got more than Patrick Queen. So he likely leads the team.
Hmm.
2 tackles for loss. Um, got one fumble, forced fumble, one fumble recovery, a couple of pass deflections, one interception. So he's had a really strong season for
Yeah.
the Steelers here. Um, Filling out the defense, filling out the back end of the. I actually know there's 2 games left. We'll go Beanie Bishop first. I forgot about him. Beanie Bishop. What are your thoughts on him as the slot corner here?
Yeah, that's a pass. Him as a
Yeah.
rook, I think he's a rookie right now too,
Mm-hmm.
and he's been amazing on the defense.
Mm-hmm.
He what was it? 2 games in a row we had interception, and
Mm-hmm.
at least one, and he definitely is a just a phenomenal player out there. I think he's showing, why, showing the team, why he was a good pickup, on the defensive side, and he's definitely been a great um, slot corner for us, and he's made a lot of plays, and I got to give him a pass. I think he's just going to improve from there.
Yeah, if this was 3-4 weeks ago, I would have been definite fail. But
Mm-hmm.
he's really turned it on lately. Like you said, the interceptions back to back game, two interceptions against the Jets. Yeah, you got to give him a passing grade, and he's shown like that he can be a ball hawk out there lately,
Mm-hmm.
which
Mm-hmm.
is nice to see. A guy that we all thought was a ball hawk is the last name here, Minka Fitzpatrick. What are you giving him?
Fail. He's
Yeah.
just not been the Minka that we've seen over the past few years. Again, another thing with the Patrick Queen thing. I mean, haven't heard his name called. He may be making some tackles, of course, and making maybe some little plays here and there, but we haven't seen that spark that we normally see with the interceptions and a pick six here and there, or a nice sack and things like that, or a great tackle and pass deflection and stuff like that. But we haven't seen it from him this year, and I don't know if he's shaken up with any injury that may be going on that we don't know about. But he is somebody that was brought here from Miami to make a lot of plays and help with that safety position and be a key guy on the defense, but this year has not been the guy.
No, I'm right there with you. Maybe it's not fair, but I think it's just got to be a fail.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's a 3-time All Pro, and he's just not playing like an All Pro. He's just a guy out there.
Yeah.
Nothing jumps off the field when you see the Steelers play with Mink, and that's just so different than what we've come accustomed to. Like
Yeah.
he's just a guy out there, and it's depressing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the cause is. You're talking about injury. I don't know if it's the way they're playing him. It's just not what we've been used to from Minka. And
I mean,
it's
the other thing, like, and I think it was something you brought up last time. I
uh
mean, watching him out there play, he's like 50 yards deep down the field.
yeah.
I don't know what's going on with that. Like you said, maybe it is the way they're playing him this season. I don't know, but we just have not seen much of him.
Yep. And now we get to go to the offense. Let's start with the offensive line, I guess. We've had a couple of different guys have to play different positions here now. At center, we had Zach Frazier for a lot of the year, and now it's Ryan McCollum that's getting some time there. What are your thoughts on the 2 centers there, pass Phil on Frazier and then McCollum?
I think I'm gonna go. I think was it Zach Frazier? I think it was him. I'm gonna go fail on him. He had some bad snaps with Justin
Snaps early,
Fields
yeah.
in the early
Mm-hmm.
on before whatever injury or whatever else was going on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give him a fail just because of the bad snaps and things like that. That was something that we were seeing with Mason Cole last year, and it was not something we wanted to continue to happen. I don't know if it's just nerves or things like that, but there's a lot of key mistakes that could have turned a lot uglier, as the games went on with some of those issues. Ryan, what's his last name? I'm sorry, Ryan
McCollum.
McCollum. I'm going to give him a pass right now. I think he's doing
Mm-hmm.
pretty well as a center as he stepped in for Zach Frazier. I think he's doing it well, and I think him and Russell Wilson are working out pretty good.
Yeah, Frazier, I'm still going to give him a pass. I'm not sold that those issues weren't Justin Fields' fault, and I think he's been good overall. You're a rookie that's thrown out there. I'm going to give him a passing grade. for Zach Frazier. Ryan McCullough, for me, when I was talking about with some of the guys on the defensive line, the fact we haven't really heard his name in games, he must be doing something right on the offensive line. So he's going to pass for me too. Next up, let's go Mason McCormick, who's played a little bit some spots at center. I think he played a couple snaps there, but overall he's played in 66% of the snaps for the offense. What are your thoughts on Mason McCormick? He must have been a guard, I think.
I'm gonna go pass. I haven't heard too many bad issues with anything, maybe a false start or holding too much with him. I think he's playing decent, on the O-line for us right now.
Yeah, he's gonna get a pass from me too. Rookie that not even an early round rookie there, and he's playing well. You got to give him credit. Next up, two veteran guards, James Daniels and Isaac Seumalo. Both have had some injury issues this year, but both are back right now, I believe. Right? Am I wrong?
I think
might be wrong on Seumalo, actually. I can't remember. But either way, what are your thoughts on the two of them?
I'm gonna go with a fail for is it Salamalu? You said
yeah,
Samalu. I'm gonna go a fail for him. There's been a couple games where there's been some key penalties with holding and things like that I've seen with him, during a couple games, and that's just some elementary stuff that should not be taking place, and it's just something that's I've been kind of harping on all season with the penalties. It's just been something that just shouldn't be happening. I'm going to give him a fail. And who's the other guy? I'm sorry.
James Daniels.
I'm going to give him a pass. I haven't heard much really from him. I think
he's been hurt. I had it backwards. He's been hurt lately. He had a great month of September. We played really well in September. I would give him a passing grade there for sure. Seumalo came back. He's been back for like a month or so now. So we lost one. We got the other one back. Seumalo, I'm still going to give him a pass. Like I haven't been too, especially with the run game that's been playing pretty well since he's gotten back. I'm going to give them both passes. Both Daniels and Seumalo are going to get passes from me.
Yeah.
So next up, we got our two tackles. Well, three tackles here. Broderick Jones, Dan Moore, and Spencer Anderson. I think Broderick Jones for me is the fail of these three for sure. The penalties, just some whiffs that he's had. I got to go fail with Broderick. Dan Moore, we haven't heard him enough. The fact I haven't heard him and the fact I have not been frustrated outwardly by Dan Moore, I'm going to have to give him a passing grade.
Yeah.
He's settled himself in there. And then with Spencer Anderson, you're not expecting much from him. And I think he's been good enough that I'm going to give him a passing grade as well.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with all three of those. Failed to Benton and then a pass the other two guys. I think that the other two guys have been doing well to the point where I haven't heard too much from him. But Keanu Benton, I mean, especially in that last game with the Giants, I mean, the face mask penalty that interrupted a touchdown that we had. And then, the penalties throughout the season and, whiffs on sacks and things like that. I think that he definitely needs to step up. The expectation is supposed to be a little bit higher for him, and he has not lived up to that right now during this season. So definitely a big fail for me.
Okay, let's switch over to the tight ends. I'm going to go backwards because I might be controversial with my one in here. But Darnell Washington, for me, I think that's a pass. He's been fun to watch. He's been a great blocker out there. And then when he's gotten the ball, he's only had like about 10 catches. He's made some plays that looked pretty good out there.
Yeah, I'm going to go with pass as well. I mean, he's big guy, 6'7", definitely been making some plays. And he looks pretty good out there as well. And I think he's just going to improve from there.
Next up, Pat Freiermuth. I'll let you go first, and then I'll piggyback off whatever you got to say here.
I'm going to go fail. Haven't seen too much from him. He just signed a new contract too, I believe. And I know last season he had a lot of injuries and stuff like that. But he has not been too much of somebody that I've seen on the field making plays. Again, our two quarterbacks are still fresh to the offense and things like that. And they're trying to make plays and things like that, to get guys involved in that. But he has not been a guy that I've seen too much on the field.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a fail. And then I'm looking at his stats now. His season high in receiving yards was 57. He just hasn't had that breakout game. He does have 2 touchdowns. Lately, it's been pretty slow for him. He had 2 catches for 19 yards against the Giants. 2 catches for 51 yards, 2 catches for 16 yards, 3 for 22. That's his last 4 games there. Like you said, he's got the money, he got everything wanted, and he just hasn't come out here and had that breakout game that you would want to see from your tight end. That if he's going to be a high paying tight end, so yeah, I'm right there with you. I got to give him a failing grade.
Yeah.
We can talk Connor Hayward, I guess. What are your thoughts on Connor Hayward?
I mean, I haven't seen too much of him. I'm gonna give him a pass on some of the plays he's been out there. You know, I think he's done what he's needed to do this season so far while he's been out there. So I'm gonna give him a pass.
Yeah, I think you give him a pass. He is what he is. He's going to be a guy. He's a glue guy or whatever you want to call him. He's not going to be out there to make any splashes.
Yeah.
Now we got this receiving core. Let's go in reverse order of snap count. First, Scotty Miller. He's getting like 23% of snaps. What are your thoughts on Scotty Miller?
I mean, I haven't heard his name once, I don't think, during the season. So I gotta go.
2 catches for 31 yards.
I'm gonna go fail. I mean, there's nothing going on there. There's just nothing happening with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a fail on him. Maybe it's not his fault, but he's out there 23. This is offensive snaps. He's out there for 23% of the snaps.
Yeah.
And you only got 2 catches. You're doing something wrong. I don't care who's the quarterback, what situation you've been put into. You got to do better than 2 catches in 8
Exactly.
games.
Yeah, exactly.
Next up, your guy, Calvin Austin. What do you got, pass or fail?
I'm gonna go pass only because
knew you would.
Because the last game, only because I think that he definitely made a nice play with that punt return and he got himself a touchdown in the same game. He might have 2 on the season, I can't remember. But I think he's doing decent, for how he's out there playing. I think it's all right.
So if it was punt returner, that's an obvious pass for me. He's been thrown. Maybe it's not his fault, but he's been thrown there. He's supposed to be a big part of this passing game.
Yeah.
He hasn't done enough in my eyes. I'm going to give him a fail. I think, is he at 20 catches yet? No, he's at 14 catches, 257 yards, 2 touchdowns, and that's with a 55-yard touchdown there on one of those catches. So I just not enough for me there. I'm gonna go fail for him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go fail for this next guy too, Van Jefferson. He had a decent catch this last game, but on the season, once again, these numbers are just ugly. 14 catches, 139 yards, 1 touchdown for the season. I would bet that there's been multiple receivers that have had better single games than he has in 8 games so far this season. I have to say that he's failed.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he was an acquisition we picked up, hoping to maybe possibly be a number 2. And like you said, 14 receptions is not going to do it halfway through a season. It's just, I don't care who the quarterback is. Like you said, I mean, you're not doing something right if you're not getting the amount of passes thrown to you to get open and score touchdowns, things like that. And you know what? You made up a good point. I'm gonna give Calvin Austin a fail. I mean, if it was punt return, it's definitely a pass, but exactly. He's a guy that's supposed to be the speedster guy for wide receiver. And like you said, we have not seen any big plays from him, and he is not getting the, 16 catches, like you said, is what he has right now. And
14,
or 14. So I agree with you. I got to change that. It's a fail. I'm sorry.
Well, you have the clean sweep. Last but not least, George Pickens. I'm going to give you some numbers before you make your decision. 35 catches, 548 yards, just 1 touchdown.
Fail.
There we go.
Fail.
Tell me why.
It's just the same bullshit with him. The drama early on in the season, then they got to talk to him and they got to calm him down, and then he can't get 2 feet down in the end zone when he makes a catch. And he did that, I think, last year too. It was a game against Tennessee. He couldn't get 2 fucking feet down again. And he has great catches. Don't get me wrong. He's a fantastic player. He has so much talent and potential, but yet you're supposed to be our number 1 and you're not out there making bigger plays. You should be getting open way more. You should be out there, making some bigger plays and things like that. I get that, he has some decent numbers right now. 1 touchdown. What are we doing halfway through the season? What are we doing? 1 touchdown. Come on. I mean, that's something we expect from Van Jefferson. But you, the number 1 guy, come on. Calvin Austin has more than you right now. Come on. And he's not doing anything.
You might have sold me. You might have sold me. I'm still gonna give him a pass.
Okay.
If you get his numbers out for the whole season, he'll end up with 70 catches, about 1,100 yards. Is that what you want from your number one guy? Probably not, but I think that these numbers are going to bounce even higher than now that Russell Wilson's in there. 2 games with Russell, he's had 5 catches for 111, 4 catches for 74. Maybe he's coming back around. He's got that 1 touchdown in one of those games. I'm going to give him a passing grade. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm not taking into account what he's done off the field, and not just off the field, but on the field in ways that aren't related to being on the field, I guess. But I'm going to give him a pass for now.
Okay. All right.
But you might be on the right side of history by the end of this here. Okay, we got 2 running backs to talk about here. First one, I'm going to be harsh on. I'm going to go Jaylen Warren, and I'm going to say fail.
Yeah.
I know a lot of it has to do with injury, but 41 rushes for 151 yards. He's supposed to be that guy that comes in there and gives you that explosive plays. You're hoping he can average 5 yards a carry.
Yeah.
He's averaging under 4. No touchdowns. Receiving wise, I should probably double check, but I think he hasn't had the same impact I remember him having last year. Yeah, just 12 catches for 67 yards. Last year he had 61 catches for 370 yards. So a big difference there for him on total catches. I know it's been hit or miss for game-wise for him. He's only been in 6 games this year, but I think you have to play that into account for him there. So I'm going to go failing for Jaylen Warren, and I really like the guy.
Yeah, I agree with you. He hasn't contributed to that 1-2 man punch that we seen last season with him and Najee. Again, there were some injuries early on in the season, but since he's been back, we have not seen him do any breakout runs or nice little plays that we seen last year with him. And he could still have some rust on him from the injury and things like that, but haven't seen too much from him on the offensive side.
And then with Najee, before the last 3 games, it was going to be an easy fail for me. But he's really turned it on. Last 3 games, 14 carries, 106, 21 carries, 102, 19 carries, 114. At this point, he's a pass for me for sure, right?
Yeah, he's definitely a pass, and I love his post-game interviews as well.
Yeah, he's been having fun.
Yeah, so
maybe he hasn't been having fun, but we've been having fun.
Yeah, it's definitely a big pass for me for sure. He's been playing well.
Yeah, and now we got the 2 quarterbacks here, and Justin Fields. Maybe he wasn't making some big plays in the passing game, but I still say you go to give him a pass for what he did as a backup coming in there and keeping the team in a good enough position for when their starter came back with Russell Wilson coming back the last 2 games. So Justin Fields for me is a pass.
Yeah, I agree. Can't go wrong with a 4-2 record for 6 games, that he was in, and 10 touchdowns and only 1 turnover with interception. I mean, I think that's phenomenal numbers, at least right there, to put up. I mean, of course, it was only 5 through the air and 5 on the ground, but he definitely was a threat with the ground game when the line was not holding up what needed to be, and he was able to at least get first downs and be able to score touchdowns with his legs. And, and I think he didn't make the great throws that we wanted to see, but he, like you said, I think he did enough just to get us to a nice, decent record of 4-2 while he was in.
Yeah, I agree. And then finally, Russell Wilson's only had 2 starts, but I think they've been great starts for him here. He's got a passing grade for me.
Yeah, he's definitely a passing grade. He started off slow in that Jets game, and of course, I think the crowd was booing him in that. But once he got the rust off, I think he turned into Mr. Unlimited like he is all the time. So I think I give him a pass for sure.
Yep, I'm right there with you. Through 2 games, 542 yards, 3 touchdowns in the air. I think he has a rushing touchdown also, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so he's playing well. I think he's shown signs that he can move this offense along, and I'm expecting them to. So I had them at 10-7 now with him in the way he's playing. I had them 6-2 in the first half, and then 10-7 overall. I think we're gonna get at least one more win to be 11-6 in the second half. And I think it's going to be because of him. So he's going to get a passing grade from me, even if it's just been 2 games so far.
Who was that? Who was that one for?
That was for Russell.
Oh, Russell. Yeah, definitely a pass for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Now the final guy. You have the Steelers going 8-0, so they ended up 6-2. So under your expectations. For me, they're right on where I had thought they'd been. What are your thoughts on Mike Tomlin's season so far? Pass or fail for Mike Tomlin?
I think it's a pass so far. I mean, with
Mm-hmm.
bringing in new guys on the coaching staff and for the team as well, I think he's done well to have them at a 6-2 record right now, atop of the AFC North right now. And I mean, of course, there was a couple games that we lost that we should have won, but I think to get the team where they're at right now at a 6-2 record going into the bye week that they're on right now, I think it's just been great with him. I mean, it was a slow, rough start. Of course, it was starting to look like, we weren't going to have an offense again, but I think the offense is slowly rolling and getting things moving. I think, we're getting to that point where, like you said, maybe the dam is going to break here pretty soon. And, maybe this offense will get rolling. I think the defense has definitely done what it's needed to do. They have been a team that has shut out teams in the third quarter so far this season. I think he's done phenomenal so far as a coach so far halfway through the season.
Yeah, you have to give him a pass. I think if everything stays the way it's going, he's got a good chance of being Coach of the Year. Washington, the team we're playing, their coach might have something to argue with the way they're playing. They're at 7-2. But I'm giving Tomlin a pass. Overall, I think we gave a lot of passing grades, but that's what it should be when your team's 6-2.
Yeah.
And the guys that we've been a little rougher on are like some of the better players on this roster. So
yeah.
I think we were fair. I think it was a good little run there of pass fail grades for the Steelers. We got a half season ahead of us. What is your updated record prediction for the Steelers here?
Well, I'm gonna go. You talk about overall final.
Overall, yeah.
I think I'm gonna agree. I think I'm gonna go 12-5. I think they're gonna win 2 more than what we talked about. Instead of 10-7, I think they're gonna go 12-5. I think they may lose a couple of those division games, and they may lose this coming week because the Commanders are pretty good. But I had them winning that one. They may lose this one now, but I think they're gonna go 12-5.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 11-6. That's gonna be my prediction now. Okay. One more game than I thought at the beginning of the year. That's 5-4 down the stretch. I think that's very doable, even with this rough schedule. The Browns aren't as good as we thought they were. The Bengals are turning on a little bit. Joe Burrow has been making some comments and stuff during the game. I guess less comments and more just body language and stuff that kind of scaring me as a Steeler fan, that he might be able to turn it on down the stretch here. Yeah. There's always a team that catches fire, and it might be the Bengals. We'll see how that ends up being. But 11-6, I think is going to happen. It should be fun to see what goes on for the rest of the season. But until then, Lee, I think it's time to wrap this midseason review up.
Sounds good.
Uh-huh.
I'll see you.
I'll see you.